Now, but this place wasn't free of problems. What was the ILWU up to at that time? It was more of a class situation than a racial situation, was it? Or
Well,
what was it like?
Well, the ILWU was combining all of the workers who into this union, and to a sort of a monolithic union. Whereas in the past, prior to then, the Japanese workers would live in Japanese camps. And if they had an argument with the plantation managers, the plantation, then they would strike, and they would not get any support from the Filipino camps or the Korean camps or anything of that sort. So what the ILWU did was to explain to the workers that this had to stop, that all of the that was a policy of management to divide and rule and conquer, and that any time that the workers themselves did this, they were playing a management's game, and they were able to get that across. And of course, I had a regular column in the Honolulu Record, and I often pointed that out.
Did you write about things from your mainland experience and relate them to what you saw here? Or?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes that happened. For instance, I was trying to get union of all the various ethnic groups, and I would have to point out how this was something that had that developed on the mainland, that we had we blacks had worked together with other groups to get things done, and how essential it was in order to do that. Among the first, well, let's see. At that time, there were many places downtown on where blacks were not welcome, and there were efforts made to break this color barrier. We had, incidentally, before I forget it, I was vice chairman of the Chicago Civil Liberties Committee.
Ah.
And so the Civil Rights Congress was in existence when I came over here. And we were, the local chapter, the local civil rights group was affiliated with the Civil Rights Congress. And we, which was another thing that did not sit well with the powers that were.
So you went from one set of struggles in the mainland and quickly ended up with these fellows over here.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, what was the dock strike that same year, or was it the next year? That was a big showdown.
Yeah, that was in 49.
Yeah.
That was a long dock strike. And that was when IMUA was born, an organization called IMUA, which meant which is translated, I might undertake anything. But it was formed to try to break the strike. The management had a series of daily programs on the radio. The ILWU had a series of daily programs by Bob McElrath in competition. So the two were often in conflict with one another. And this was something that was part and parcel of just about everyday existence in Honolulu.
A lot of your associates on the mainland, did they view you as running away from the struggle? Or?
Yeah, they thought at first that Helen and I were running away from the struggle. They didn't realize that there was a struggle over here, which was not as big, but was just as important, to try to get labor accepted by management. You know, there were several persons who wanted to get jobs on the plantations over here, several haoles, and they could not get that out. Management wouldn't hire them. They didn't want the haoles working in subservient roles.
They want to keep everything compartmentalized.
Yeah, they wanted the haoles to be only in the top jobs and top management. And that existed for some time. For a while, too, the various trade unions here, many of the persons who were members of trade unions would not accept haoles as carpenters or whatever it was. The haoles could be bosses, they could be lunas, but they could not work with some of the local people.
Did these attitudes of yours get you in the same trouble here with the powers that be? In other words, did you end up having troubles with the House Un-American Activities Committee and the FBI?
Oh, yes, naturally.
What happened? What happened?
Well, you know, I had an FBI agent who I learned had been my personal agent until in the, I think it was around the early 60s. So this particular fellow one day, I was coming out of a customer's place of business, and I noticed this fellow hanging around my car. And so when I came out, he produced his credentials and said that he was from the FBI and wanted to talk with me. I said, well, I don't think we have anything to say to each other. He said, next day, a couple of days, when you take your lunch at Kapiolani Park, at that time I used to go to a stand there and buy food. I will see you there. I think we can get together. So he came out. He was accompanied by another fellow with a briefcase. I'm pretty certain the briefcase had a tape recorder in it. And the fellow who had originally asked me to see him told me that I know that you used to be a communist, but what made you change your mind? Why did you leave the party? And I said, wait a minute. If I say I left the party, that would indicate that I had been a member of the Communist Party. And I have never told anybody that. So we went on, and he was asking me something about my high school and college. And the fellow was with him cut in and told him all of what I had done and where and at what time. And so finally I said, if you want to know anything, just ask your buddy here. He knows more about my life than I do.